You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened? Your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show. It is Wednesday, September 25th here, middle of the weekday, hump day, starting that long, slow glide down to Pauhana Friday. And want to give you a little bit of a heads up. I'm still on this medication. The doctor would not let me pull back on it. So I'm kind of fuzzy. In fact, I'm even thinking Donald Trump is doing a good job. That's how powerful this medication is. And so today's show is going to be kind of random. I don't really have an organized talking points put together, but we're going to jump from topic to topic to topic, and I am going to be relying on the phone calls to get us through 3 hours of program here. And I want to start with this whole Biden situation where it begins with Hunter Biden getting some sweetheart deals in Ukraine while his father was vice president. And so there's a concern there that there was a little bit of politicking going on. And at one point, Hunter Biden was under investigation by the Ukraine prosecutor. And apparently, Joe Biden, through a serious financial gift, convinced the Ukraine government to fire the prosecutor and save his son that way. All right, that's step one. Step two is that apparently Donald Trump called the new president of Ukraine, and they talked about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Trump is insisting there was no quid pro quo, but there's a concern that some $400 million in military aid was being held up by Trump until something got down about Hunter. Now, obviously, going into the election year, a conviction of Hunter Biden for corruption is going to reflect very badly on Joe Biden. And so that would give Donald Trump a tremendous advantage going into next year if, in fact, he's running against Biden. I don't know that he's going to be running against Biden. Biden is fading in the polls. Warren is doing very well out in California. And there's always the fear that Hillary Rodham Clinton is going to save the Democratic Party by leaping on into the contest. And I would really hate to see that. All right, over on the carrier George Herbert Walker Bush, apparently 3 crew members killed themselves last week. And they're trying to figure out why, what's going on, what kind of pressure are these kids on that they just kill themselves. That's very sad. There's a lot of military suicides. There's got to be a lot of pressure on those kids. Okay, article coming here. It's called Protecting America from Assault Weapons. And they're still pushing that whole idea of assault weapon this, assault weapon that. And the reality is that the vast majority of crimes and homicides are convicted with handguns, small arms. And the only time you see these so-called assault weapons used are on these very staged mass shootings. So the government really wants those assault weapons. They don't care if you have the handguns. They definitely want those long-reach military-style assault weapons out of the hands of the American people. They'll give them to the Mexicans. In Fast and Furious, they're giving them to the Israelis, but they don't want you to have them. A little bit of a double standard there, as you would. Okay, Nancy Pelosi seems to be drifting further and further to the left. And I don't know if it's an act of demonstration or a desperation, rather, because she's not doing very well. But she could lead America to a civil war. I know 2 years ago, the idea of an American Civil War would have seemed extreme. Couldn't possibly happen here. But you've got all this violence on the side of the liberals. You've got the conservatives standing there saying, we're ready to fight back. And it's alarming. It's very, very alarming here. Okay, we're going to take a phone call now. Kevin in West Virginia. Aloha, Kevin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
This whole thing with Joe Biden's on my mind. He's on C-SPAN admitting that he stopped or withheld $1 billion, for this prosecutor to not prosecute or the prosecutor to be fired. This is complete inversion. Mm-hmm. Is this death throes that we're seeing? Like, what is this?
Well, it's corruption. There's no question about it. And I know that Biden is actually on video admitting that he did this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, this is completely inversion. And I think the whole key here, Ukraine's the whole key. It shows the political, the political establishment, the corruption, with the Democratic Party and the deep state. I think Ukraine is the key here to unlock everything.
Well, I know that Ukraine has been in play for quite some time. The U.S. went on in there and they got rid of Yanukovych. They put in Poroshenko. Poroshenko was not well liked, and now they've got a new president in there. And the question is, which way will Ukraine go? Will they go to the EU, which is what the United States wants? Or will they merge with Russia, which is what the Ukrainians want?
I mean, they're their own independent nation. They can do whatever they want to do as far as I'm concerned. But in my eyes, though, this is, wow, is all I got to say. This is, I don't know if this is, like I said, the death throes of the establishment because they're getting ready to be caught, or, like you said, this is plain corruption, but this is so open. I just don't understand how anybody else can see how open and how corrupt this is. I mean, is this the straw that breaks the camel's back, is my question.
I would certainly hope so. We just have to make sure that we keep it out there in the eyes of the public. And as far as Ukraine being an independent nation and choosing its own free will, well, we've seen over the last several decades where the United States attitude is, no, you're not your own free nation, and we're going to tell you where to go.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and I'm glad, give Miss Claire the best, and that's all I have for you today.
Okay, Claire, they're giving you the best. Says thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to go to Jim in Illinois. Aloha, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Michael. You do sound a little better. Thank God for that.
Okay, well, good.
A couple of things. If Trump really wanted to go after Hunter Biden, why didn't he do it in 2017 and 18 when the Republicans controlled the House and the Senate? And also, instead of sending Giuliani over to Ukraine, why didn't he have the FBI or his friend in the Justice Department, the Attorney General, to do something? I read this morning where there were advisors to Trump in the White House. They told him, when you talk to the Ukraine president, don't bring up Biden or his son. He did it anyway. And after he had made that phone call, that is when Dan Coats quit, the United States ambassador to Ukraine. She quit. And when did the Ukrainians get the money? On 9/11, 2 days after the whistleblower gave a complaint to the Congress or the DNI.
Well, I think early on the idea was not to publicly embarrass Hunter Biden because it would look like a cheap shot against Joe Biden.
Uh-huh.
And I think now that Biden is in the running for the presidency, Hunter becomes fair game.
Right. Well, like you stated, though, Biden is losing points.
Yes.
Right. Now, Michael, did you read the transcript that was given to the public regarding the conversation?
No, I didn't get a chance to read that. But
Okay,
I assume that there wasn't much of anything in it.
well, the only thing, it sounds like Trump was being a mafia boss, telling the Ukraine president, if you want the 400 million, I want you to do a favor for me. And those are the exact words in the transcript. You sound like a Chicago thug or a mafia boss. And right now, go ahead.
Did he say exactly what the favor was supposed to be?
Well, he stated, well, we are good friends with Ukraine, and we know that you need some military equipment.
Okay,
yeah,
but he didn't say what the favor specifically was.
Well, not from this transcript. Maybe they edited it out. I don't know, but from this transcript, it's not in there.
Okay.
But in the final point, right now there is enough Democrats to impeach Trump. By the way, and Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, they are really concerned.
Okay, on what grounds are they going to impeach him?
Misusing the power of the president, acting like a thug toward another president of a different nation.
Well, I mean, Trump is hardly the first president to do that. I mean, Truman certainly did. They didn't impeach him.
Again, in this particular case, Trump was doing something that would maybe help him in his campaign. And the other presidents, they have never done anything like that. It was mainly toward helping American citizens or the country. That's the difference.
Well, I don't know. LBJ did some underhanded shenanigans to help his own campaign and undermine John Kennedy.
But it was this blatant, though.
True, it wasn't this blatant.
Yeah, and I think and again, Trump has no one to blame but himself. His own advisors told him, don't make that phone call and don't mention Biden's name or his son's name. And he did it anyway. So he has no one to blame but himself.
Well, Trump was never very good about taking advice. That's for sure.
He's his worst enemy. And now the Democrats, they found a trophy. Thanks to Trump, he gave the Democrats a trophy. So,
well,
Michael,
absent a detail on the favor, I mean, Trump could have been asking for some nice Ukrainian food to be sent over to the White House, which is a big nothing.
But then why did he hold up the money that was going to Ukraine? They expected it in June. Why did he wait until September?
You know how expensive Ukrainian food is?
But again, you didn't answer my question. The money was coming toward the Ukraine.
It looks suspicious. There's a lot of smoke. I'm not seeing the fire yet.
Not yet. And the whistleblower, he wants to meet with the Congress, and God only knows what he has to say.
Well, we'll see how it
from
plays.
From what I read, it's not just the phone call. There's other things that the whistleblower did not like. But right now, time will tell.
Yes.
Well, Michael, I'm going to let you go. You take care of yourself.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Okay. Apparently, as long as we're on the subject of medical mistakes and messing things up, apparently over in South Korea, there was a doctor reportedly performed an abortion on the wrong patient. And police are now investigating. Whoopsie, my bad. And Johns Hopkins did a study a while back, and they found the third leading cause of death in America is medical mistakes. They don't advertise that on the news. They talk about cancer and heart disease, and then they leap over to car accidents and so forth. But Johns Hopkins said, no, the third leading cause of death is medical mistakes. All right, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee proving that she knows absolutely nothing about what she's talking about, claims an AR-15 weighs as much as 10 boxes, not sure what a box means, and shoots a 50 caliber round. Well, that's definitely not true. Now, it's true that you can rechamber the AR-15, but the standard AR-15 that you buy from the sporting goods store fires a .223. And I don't know what she means by 10 boxes here. All righty. There's a new ad in the Kentucky gubernatorial race scorches Democrats on their radical gender policy. And I do think this gender policy is a weak point for the Democrats, because I think most people, they're getting fed up with this idea of transgenderism, and you can be a boy and think you're a girl, and you can dress in skirts, and you can have the surgery. And I think people are really kind of fed up with that. So I think that's going to backfire on them. All righty. California Representative Adam Schiff has been chasing his tail for days on the alleged whistleblower scandal that may be another nonsense story. Don't forget all the stuff about Kavanaugh. We know we get lied to a lot about stuff. All right, Fox News guest Michael Knowles calls climate activist Greta Thunberg a mentally ill child. The liberals need to say they exploded. How dare you say a climate person is mentally ill? But they are. If you look at the actual numbers, the world is not getting warmer. It's actually getting colder. We're getting fewer hurricanes. It's supposed to get a little rain here today, but so far it hasn't happened. Now, Bernie Sanders is going way left with a new extreme wealth tax. And he's saying, I don't think that billionaires should exist, which of course will drive the billionaires to support Bernie's opponents. All righty. Choker under fire. Phoenix walks out of interview. Shooting victims send letters to Warner Brothers. Here. All right. Climate hysteria. Teen activist amasses 3,300 plus signatures for No Future, No Children pledge. And you know something? Anybody can put out a hashtag anything and acquire a whole bunch of signatures. I'm thinking of putting out, a Michael Rivero is insane hashtag and see how many signatures I get on that. Be interesting here. All right, there's a former GOP governor who's challenging Trump in 2020. He's claiming Trump committed treason, adds the penalty under U.S. code is death. They're just getting more and more extreme. They're just out there, we've got to kill the guy. We've got to do this. And economic news, the global panic has just started. Greg Hunter interview with Egon von Greyers on USA Watchdog. We know the economy's in trouble. We know the economy's in serious trouble, and they don't know how to fix it. All they know how to do is print more money, spend it all over the banks to keep them liquid, not doing a thing for ordinary human beings. You're on your own there. Thank you. Good night. Now, Demi Moore is hopping onto the hashtag #MeToo movement, saying she was raped at 15 by a man after he paid her mother $500. And there's an aspect to all of this child sexual trafficking that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Who is selling the children for the sexual exploitation? It's generally the mothers. It's not the fathers. Mothers have custody. He talks about that, though. Over in Detroit, they're fighting for a ban on facial recognition. And I think a good reason for that, it's just not accurate. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. And John Stadmiller is absolutely right. It looks like we're heading into a time of crisis in this country. And the other side, they're very well trained, at your expense, I might add. And you'd better be well trained yourself. Just having a gun doesn't make you effective. You have to go on out. You have to shoot at the range. You have to train with it. You have to train with the gun itself, taking it apart, putting it back together. The more you train, the better you will be. All right, let's take a phone call. Mike in Brazil, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I was going to talk about the coming civil war. That's my first talking point, and then about Greta, this kid, the 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't see any future for the United States because regardless whether Trump wins in 2020. Maybe he wins in 2020, absent the vote fraud. We got, 22 million illegal aliens voting in the United States. All of them vote Democratic because the Democrats promised them all kinds of cookies and chocolate and welfare and all that stuff. So obviously they're going to vote Democrat, and which means that Donald Trump is done. And I'm the only one here in this community. I know 11 other Americans living in the Indy area, I might say. Well, far from where I am, but I call that Indy area, in the Amazon. And they all have the same opinion. Donald Trump is a loser. And they all voted for him. Okay, all of them. And they have no reason to lie to me. I don't have any reason to lie to them because I also voted for Trump. So just like Dustin from New Jersey said, I feel ashamed because the guy let us down. We have no wall. The illegals continue to pour over the borders. Nobody can say it better than Dustin in New Jersey and Tom from Florida. I understand their passion, and it's understandable. I mean, your country's being robbed from you, literally at gunpoint, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. So what I'm foreseeing here is a situation where Elizabeth Warren might win the election, okay, with a lot of help from the illegal aliens, which means Donald Trump is toast. And in either case, even if Donald Trump wins, okay, he only has 4 more years after that, then one of these lunatics is bound to go into the White House, okay? Either one of them. I don't care which one, Elizabeth Warren or OAC or, the PAC, all that stuff. So, what I see in the future of the United States right now is what George Washington, I don't know if this is an anecdotal thing, whether it happened or not, but I read in some place on the internet that George Washington had a very bad dream, a nightmare, and there was a very thick black cloud coming from Europe, crossing the Atlantic to the United States. And he woke up in a cold sweat, and he knew that the end of the United States is near. And I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, I'm just what I read on the internet. So it might just be fable or I don't know, something like that. And, I think the United States is heading towards a civil war, Mike. Whether you like it or not, you know what? I'm ex-military personnel as well, okay? When I was 19 years old, I was in Congo, okay, fighting the guerrilla warfare in the jungles of Congo, which incidentally didn't even stop today. They're still fighting the same damn war, okay, which I left behind 48 years ago, okay, 49 years ago. I left them in the same state as they are today. They keep fighting. They keep shooting themselves to smithereens. And I was wondering the other day, why in the hell did I spend 3 years in the jungles in Congo? For what? I got money. I was a mercenary, okay, so I got paid real well. I was part of the French Foreign Legion. So I got money, got $250,000, okay, in current value, the current value of today. So, but beyond that, I was thinking, I said, what impact did I have there? I mean, I just shot a few guys, and some guys shot at me. I shot back at them, and basically today it's the same thing, and nothing happened. Okay, the United Nations keeps gobbling money from the United States, supposedly to eliminate illiteracy and poverty in Africa. Mike, this has been going on for 70 years, okay, and they haven't made any dent in poverty in Africa. A year and a half ago, I returned from Africa. Okay, I went there for a 2-week trip. I have some friends there. So they settled in Africa after the war and all that. And I was looking around and I said, man, Mike, this whole thing about a war back. Yes. Mike,
got to put you on hold.
Yes,
don't hang up. I'll come right back to you after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far 5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Mike in Brazil. And Mike, you were telling us about how you did 2 weeks in Africa because you got some friends back there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been there. That was about a year and a half ago. Okay, and I mean, they were kind of like they didn't want to talk to me. Most of them, were like what you might call PTSD. For Christ's sake, I served for 3 years in the jungles of Africa, okay, which are a lot worse than the jungles in South America. I can tell you that, okay, because I know both of them. I live right in the jungle right here, like 6 miles away from where I live. It's pure jungle. And you got crocodiles and you got snakes, poisonous plants, and all that stuff. Homicidal indigenous people that they'll kill you if they find you there. So I'm very used to this. But what I'm trying to say is this, that the United Nations as an institution is a fraud because we were getting paid, Mike, believe it or not by the French government. We were being paid. We were on the payroll of the United Nations. They were paying us to go and exterminate these people whom they called savages. Yeah, some of them were indeed savages because I've seen people being impaled alive on sticks and beheaded in front of me, like 5 meters away from me. That's about, I'd say maybe 8 feet away from me. So I've seen the horrors of what a civil war is like, and I was supposedly there to keep the peace. Well, we've done everything but keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed. I mean, we started shooting at everything that was moving. We even killed friendly civilians. We didn't know who they were, so we opened fire. We killed them. So some of us were tried, for crimes, and some of us got acquitted. But to make a long story short, the United Nations is paying for all the stuff that happens in South Africa. And they're taking billions of dollars from both the United States and the rest of Western Europe just to put an end to the famine, to the illiteracy, which is rampant in Africa, and nothing. There is no result. They keep spending money. And you're the one,
They're clearing the land.
I, as an American citizen as well, we're paying for this stuff and nothing. There's no result. So all I want to say is this. The United Nations is the most evil institution there has ever been on this planet. And now my second point that I was going to say is Greta, this little kid. I feel sorry for her. Everybody thinks she's got Asperger's syndrome. No, she does not. I keep leaving comments on all the videos. She does not have Asperger's syndrome. What she does have is Down syndrome, Mongolis. Look at her face.
Yeah,
it's unmistakable. Anybody, like I told you, back in the States, I used to work as a paramedic. I've seen a lot of people with Down syndrome. All right, she's unmistakably a Down syndrome patient, and they use her to push this hoax, this global warming or climate change. Now they changed that, to push the agenda, and they take advantage of this poor little kid. And I wonder, what are her parents saying about this? Are they getting any money? Now it turns out that George Soros financed the entire trip. And I told you yesterday when I called you that there were two ships at 2.8 nautical miles behind them where they could be out of sight. Nobody could see them. But they were there in case something happens to the yacht. Okay? So she was not really adventurous. I mean, I'm an adventurer guy, right? I went to the jungles of Africa, jungles of Amazon. I am an adventurer, but not her. She's not an adventurer. She had a backup. In case something bad happened, they were always there, 2.8, almost 3 nautical miles. That's about 5 miles, okay? So, this gives you a little pause to think who these people are who are pushing this agenda, using a mentally retarded person. Well, she has a mild form of Down syndrome, because I've seen worse cases that they are completely you cannot communicate with them. So she has the light side of Down syndrome, but she does not have Asperger's syndrome. Okay, let that be clear. I know. I worked with them. I've seen them. I know what they do. And this girl does not have Asperger's syndrome. What she does have is Down syndrome. Okay, so make sure that people put this on any video they see. Okay, I'm a trained paramedic. I've studied for 5 years to be what I am, what I used to be, actually. I'm retired now, but, so make sure that you pass this along. This girl does not have Asperger's syndrome. She has Down syndrome. So with this last thought, Mike, I'm going to leave you. And thank you for your show, man. You're great. You're the best show anywhere. I mean, you're unique, to be honest with you. You're unique. Your show is unique. And so are your callers. Very intelligent. And one caller yesterday was asking about Layla from Ontario. Yeah. I'd like to know what happened to her, too. Did she get arrested? Or did she say something?
I don't know, but I miss her, too.
Yeah, I presume that, too, because she was very outspoken, and she's a very intelligent lady, and I have all my respects go out to her. And I believe that somehow she got muffled. Somebody got her. Because, I mean, it's been, 2 months now, 3 months? I haven't heard. We haven't heard from her, in 3 months, maybe even longer. I don't remember when was the last time she was on the show, but I've seen
it's been a while.
3 months or so. Yeah. So, anyway, Michael, let me let you with this thought. And, hey, listen, one other question that I have for you. what condition was that medication that the doctor prescribed to you was for?
I really don't want to discuss my medical issues. It was a severe
Was
hangnail.
it for pain? Was it for pain?
Yes. Yeah.
Ah, it was for pain. Okay, yeah, that figures. Okay, that figures. Now I understand because they put me on oxycodone and I have the same problem. Yeah, I felt very bad.
It's not oxycodone. It's something else. It's
Yeah, well,
polydiusyl
a
wagga
derivative
wagga.
of it that really does a number on you. Yeah, I know. But anyway, Mike, listen, have a good show now, and I'll call you some other time.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go and switch over to Philip in Virginia. Philip, thank you for waiting so patiently. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hey, Mike. Yeah, you are doing a great job considering what you're going through there, and trust that you'll be able to overcome it all and come back stronger on the other side. Thought about what your previous caller was talking about, this Greta, this media sensation, this media darling. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that they would say that she's got this condition, Asperger's, to exploit that.
They're building for sympathy.
Yeah, absolutely. And what your previous caller made a lot of sense. But what I really called about was the Ukraine debacle and latest fiasco. Actually, it's what we witnessed once again is a military term called a tactical diversion.
Yeah.
To answer Jim from Chicago's question about the favor, it was about looking backwards and not looking forward to 2020. President was asking a favor about looking into CrowdStrike's role into the meddling in the 2016 election. And did you catch that? Did you read the transcript of the call yet?
No, I only read part of it.
Yeah, the favor was referring to CrowdStrike, that corrupt organization that was at the center of the entire controversy when it began. They're the ones that put out the false narrative, that the Russians hacked the DNC, and then subsequently they would not, the DNC would not allow the FBI to examine the servers. And we've since learned from others like William Binney and his type that it was not a hack. It was actually a inside. Yeah. So that is, I just wanted to add that or answer that question.
If that's the quid pro quo for the $400 million, then the Democrats have got nothing.
Yeah. And it's just business as usual, with the Democrats and the fake news out there, the corporate media, running cover for these criminals that are above the law. I'm so sick and tired of hearing these corrupt politicians like Nasty Pelosi and Schmucky Schumer and Pencil Neck Schiff talking about that nobody's above the law. Well, if that's the case, then how come Bill and Hillary are not, being prosecuted, or Comey or McCabe or Clapper or Brennan or any of these people? No, what they're saying with nobody's above the law, it only refers to Republicans or, people who don't go along with our agenda. It is so infuriating to hear them. And, I saw Nancy Pelosi come out last night with the flag in the background, and she had a little flag lapel pin, and it reminded me of the statement. I forget who stated it. I think it might have been Will Rogers, but the last refuge of a scoundrel is patriotism.
Yes.
These people think that they're doing the bidding of the people, and they're not. They're actually guilty of treason. These people, and the media is letting them get by with it.
Yes.
Yeah, it is so infuriating. It reminds me of the, I guess it was Beverly Hills Cop, Dan Aykroyd and what was the Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick. And they do it all. They keep falling for it.
Yep.
No, was that Dan Aykroyd? I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick.
That was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, that was Eddie Murphy. I forget who the co-star was. Was Dan Aykroyd or somebody else? But anyway, yeah, they keep falling for the trick, and it's infuriating, Michael, and it's so transparent, and you and I can see this, but the media is failing in their duty as the self-proclaimed watchdogs of society. They're giving these deep state criminals a free pass.
Yes, they are, because they're all liberals.
Time and time again.
They're all liberals.
So what this Ukraine thing is basically has been a tactical diversion, because they need to divert attention away from the fact that, and I didn't vote for Trump. I'm an objective observer, and I see that this man has been subjected to things that we have never, ever seen before in our life.
Yes.
That's why I support this guy. And in spite of all of the damn deep state tricks, he is getting stronger. Did you hear about the latest, I think it was a Rasmussen poll. He's up around pushing 55%.
Yep.
And they're freaking out, and that's what this is all about. To try and slow his momentum down, and in spite of all of his shortcomings that we know,
they're building sympathy for him.
Yeah, well, he hasn't been the perfect president.
No.
But he is trying to get some certain things done. He's not coming through on the wall like we'd like him to. But we still got to coalesce, and we need to just don't throw in the towel, because he's not satisfying our instant gratification. Okay, I know he's got major problems, but still, in light of what he's up against, it was one man against the world. It seems like. And we're trying to get, we get upset because he hasn't been able to reverse, 50 plus years of corruption. So I thought I heard a click. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, guys, just, bear with him. We know that he's got problems, but you got to see the whole big picture. And, Elizabeth Warren, come on, people. Elizabeth, he is going to demolish her, okay? Go ahead, Elizabeth. Get out there. You wanted this, you fake, phony fraud. He's going to tear her up. So, we need to hang together, or we're going to hang separate. And, all of these deep state tactics and tricks are this is the what Schmucky Schumer talked about years ago. The intelligence agencies have 6 ways to Sunday to get back at him. What kind of a statement is that? What kind of a statement is that? That is an admission that there are domestic enemies in this country, in the intelligence community.
Yes.
And he needs to put on, like you say, the presidential brass knuckles and knock these guys out.
Yes.
And I know that he's not going to do that because he's getting bad information. One of the other things that was stated during the 2016 campaign, Harry Reid infamously said, what these intel guys got to do is just give him bad information. And I think that's one of the problems that he has, like with Iran and Syria. We're seeing he's getting bad information. He needs to get Pompeo out of there. He needs to get somebody else in there that's going to, be
okay,
more
Philip.
on board with this.
Philip.
Okay, Mike. Have a great.
Gotta let you go. Gotta take a break for commercials. We'll be right back.
So, are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all natural, all organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Many people tell us about their experience with Extendivite. Just listen to what Glenn has to say.
Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Extendivite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75% dandruff, almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out. I would skip a beat. Very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones. Rick in Arizona. Aloha, Rick. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. How you feeling? You sound like you got like a little allergy going or something.
Well, it's this medication the doctor has me on, and it's just got me fuzzed out.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment about Trump's popularity. I guess like I'm kind of like Fred from Iowa. You know, you've heard me talk about this before that I think this is all star wrestling. I think Trump and the media and the Democrats are playing the American people for a bunch of fools.
Mm-hmm.
This Trump is getting browbeaten into popularity by the media and the Democrats, turning him into the underdog. This is I think this is out of Rules for Radicals tactic, but I don't buy this at all. Now, this could be the Democrats' way of avoiding getting into this gun control legislation, because even though they've hit us hard with shootings, maybe gun control legislation is just not that popular. But didn't this event happen in July or something, this phone call?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they had this on the shelf ready to go for something to get in the way of not having to do something. There's just too much of this, in my mind, this phony combat to, cover up what Trump's not doing. People think Trump's doing a good job. Well, I guess you got to be, okay, if you think Trump's doing a good job, it's a free country. But I just don't see it. So I don't know. I don't know who these people are that Trump's doing a good job unless you're a bigger Israel firster.
Or an illegal immigrant.
Anyway, and one more comment. I think if gun control does surface above this, if it's surfaced in this scandal,
Mm-hmm.
I think that if gun owners aren't as active as Antifa, or if they're not as active as these people in the climate change movement, I think these guys are going to get hammered on the gun laws. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. This could be to cover up. Maybe this is just to get by and not have to deal with the gun control issue. But this thing's been on the shelf since last summer, and I'm suspicious of it. And thank you for taking my call.
Well, I'll tell you what the weakness of the conservatives is. They're too polite. They're too restrained. You've got the gun grabbers, the climate people, Antifa. They're out there screaming and yelling and frothing at the mouth. And the conservatives are just standing there and saying, can we have a reasonable discussion? And of course, it never happens. All right, Rick, we're going to let you go here and switch over to Miles in Maine. Aloha, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Best wishes, Michael. Hoping you to have better health, and hope you get over whatever you got there. I just, it was a observation of mine. They always trot out these kids.
Wait a minute, Miles. Got to put you on hold. Don't hang up. We got to do station identification. We'll be right back.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth. What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. We're talking with Miles in Maine, and the subject is guns.
Yes, Michael. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're on the air.
Okay. Yeah, so, Michael, it seems all the time these anti-gunners, they bring out juveniles that can't own a firearm or people from other nations that don't understand our Second Amendment. In the meantime, these people in Sweden and all over that are complaining are being brutalized, attacked, assaulted, raped. And if they want to stand in line and get ready for that, that's fine. But they should have absolutely no impact and no say-so. They shouldn't get a second of this scandalous media coverage to try and change and affect our rights. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. I think people who are normally ambivalent are even starting to weigh in on the side of the Second Amendment. You have this Alyssa Milano. She has psychiatric conditions. She is medicated. She admits to owning a gun. I mean, that's a crime itself.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here trying to tiptoe around having our Second Amendment right by these people here, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And where normally I wouldn't have, probably might not have voted for Trump, I'm going to make sure I vote for him because I'm just so tired of this kind of stuff. I don't see these Democrats saying, I never see them answer anything or ask any questions. What happened to Building 7? Or, oh boy, did you hear that the Alaska project was commenting on this? Maybe we should look into it. That's all they're worried about is Antifa. They don't like the government. They don't like the police. They don't like anything here, but they want to run the country. Like yes. You have the woman from Somalia. I mean, come on! I thought you wanted to be an American. So, this media. Thank God for the independent media and shows like yours, and that's my only commentary. And thanks a bunch, Mike. Keep up the great work. We really need you out here, and hope you're feeling better, and Claire is too.
Well, Claire's feeling fine, and eventually I am told I'll be feeling better. I just have to go through this course of medication, which starts tapering down as of tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be okay.
Well, that's great news. That's great news. Take your medicine and get some rest.
You're telling me. All right,
Aloha.
Miles, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. Now, Tulsi Gabbard came out with a quote. Can you imagine if Google's CEO was a conservative Republican shutting down Democratic voices? And, of course, her comment is over the fact that Google's CEO is a liberal who is shutting down conservative voices. Now, there's a little bit of good news coming out of this because there have been so many dropouts for the Democratic convention. Tulsi Gabbard may be back into the debates, and that will be a good thing because she always does well in the debates here. All righty, article coming out of here from... let's see. Biden is finished. Get ready for a Trump electoral landslide. Biden keeps shooting himself in the foot. He keeps making these absurd statements like his tax plan is going to put 770 million women back to work in this country. There's only 330 million people in the country to begin with. But he keeps making statements like this. And I think he's so gaffe prone. I think it's working against him, and I think that's why he's sinking in the polls. I think in California, he is number 3. Okay. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is losing steam in the Golden State, and former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown is saying it's Kamala Harris' campaign strategy. She's losing there. Okay, now, how worried is Trump about impeachment? His fundraising video thanks the Democrats for pushing it. Apparently, he's getting a lot of money from people who want to fight the impeachment here. Okay, Omar storms away from kid over conversation about tolerance, according to the parents. All right. Crooked Hillary endorses impeachment inquiry into President Trump, says Trump a clear and present danger to the future of us. Boy, there's the pot calling the kettle black right there. All right, here's the case of overweening government. Apparently, this preschoolers were running a farm stand. They were growing food and selling it, and the city shut it down, citing zoning violations. Now, that is really weird. Now, when I was a kid, nobody said boo if you put a lemonade stand out by the side of the road. And it was something that I did every summer. Cops didn't come by, didn't say, you're in a zoning violation. Amazing here. We are too controlled. We are way too controlled here. All righty. Beto has flipped, claims trans women of color can be killed with complete impunity. What the heck is this man thinking? All right, we're going to go back to the phones. Fred in Iowa. Aloha, Fred. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thank you. I hope you get to feeling better, Mike. I really mean that. You know where I'm coming from. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but the Hegelian dialectic is working perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be a braggadocio or whatever. Trump's going to be elected a second term. And remember, you can put down the date and everything. I said that. Maybe I'm bragging and I shouldn't be doing something like this, being a smart aleck or whatever. But anyhow, the Hegelian dialectic is working perfectly. And I think strongly that El Trumpo would get elected again. I'm not going to vote again in my life, maybe locally. Anyhow, thank you. Have a good day and take care of yourself. Say hello to Lady Claire. Bye-bye.
I certainly will. Hello, Lady Claire. And the only way that I would vote for Trump next year is if Hillary ran. Hillary doesn't run, I'm voting for whatever Democrat does run because Trump has become a tremendous disappointment. And we here in the independent media, we worked our rear ends off getting him that job, and then he turned his back on us. This net neutrality stuff. It's like his attitude is, okay, you did something nice for me last week. What have you done for me this week? World's wealthiest families are stockpiling cash as recession fears grow. The Fed adds $105 billion in cash to the banking system. Definitely getting ready for that. Okay, let's see. Here's an interesting question. We were talking the other day about how in Australia there's an outbreak of polio. And they're not using a euphemism. They're not calling it polio-like myelitis or something. They're saying, this is polio. And it's rare for the public health community to admit to any problems with vaccination. Every so often, however, circumstances force officials into making just such an acknowledgement. The current debacle seeping out into the news, which is actually a running tale minted anew, is that the oral polio vaccines are spawning virulent strains of polioviruses. The alarming surge in vaccine-derived polio cases presents vaccine planners with a quandary or a conundrum, because the very tool you were using for polio eradication is causing the problem. And then the vax defenders are out there saying, oh, you're a bunch of tinfoil hat kooks, how could you possibly doubt the efficacy of vaccine? Well, we got one right here. The oral polio vaccine is causing polio. Well, that's just one. You guys are so picky. Apparently, cops shot and killed a naked, unarmed teen. No charges for them. Maybe they thought he was a Terminator. The USA is preparing for martial law and total military oppression, economic collapse. Martial law, the storm is the end game. And it definitely could happen. We know things are getting ready to fall apart. Well, what do you think the government's going to do? Just say, oh, well, you caught us. We're leaving. You're on your own. No, they'll do whatever they can to maintain control. Apparently, another cop is suspended after arresting 6 and 8-year-olds without permission. Why do you have to arrest kids? Just seems strange here. All right, the Democratic city clerk for Detroit suburb has been charged with 6 felonies for alleged election fraud. They're all crooks here. Okay. Pelosi accidentally tells the truth, admits early today everything they're doing is an attempt to stop Trump from being elected. Guys, how about actually trying to run the country and do something good for the people instead of this pro wrestling match in the floor of the Congress here? All righty. Black teacher who opposed minority students getting away with bad behavior wins a huge settlement from the school district. This teacher actually won, saying it's okay to let minority students get away with bad behavior. There was a lawsuit. She won. I don't think any student of any color should be allowed to get away with bad behavior, but that's just me coming from my having been a teacher here. Okay, Pelosi to proceed with impeachment of Trump. They don't have anything. If that call to Ukraine is talking about Ukraine's role in trying to derail the 2016 election, then they've got nothing. This is going to be another nothing burger like Kavanaugh. Another story here. If Donald Trump is impeached, you should expect the mother of all stock market crashes to happen. I agree. Absolutely agree. Rudy Giuliani destroys the Democratic Party. The FBI and the Biden crime family says they have walked into a trap. Probably have. Okay, an 11-year-old girl is charged with a felony hate crime, accused of hitting a 10-year-old and using racially motivated language. Getting too touchy, we really are here. All righty. Oh, here's a good one. More proof that Americans are tired of leftist trash. The Emmys have the worst ratings ever, down 32% from last year, and no, I didn't watch them either. I never watch any of these award shows unless I'm up for an award, which hasn't been for a while. Bernie video from 1987 shows he knows free healthcare will bankrupt America. And let's see. Syrian army prepares for an escalation in the Golan Heights. They're always preparing for an escalation in the Golan Heights. That's going to piss off Israel. I think the Syrian army ought to go in and clean out Idlib first. That's just me. All righty. After Trump authorizes release of Ukraine phone transcript, new report of multiple allegations by the whistleblower. If at first you don't succeed, whistle again and whistle again. Sooner or later, we'll get him on something. Okay, the Inspector General found that the anti-Trump whistleblower has a political bias in favor of rival candidate of Trump. Gee, imagine my shock. Okay. Okay, while lefties in New York lectured about the environment, conservatives cleaned a homeless camp in LA until it was spotless. There is your real difference between liberals and conservatives. Liberals love to bitch, whine, moan, piss, complain. Conservatives will go on out and say, oh, let's fix the problem here. All right, we're going to go back here to the phones. Gareth in Wales, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello there. Yeah, last time I spoke to you, I was talking about the gun laws in Britain.
Yes.
And the fact that we weren't unarmed on the case that was going through the High Court. The barrister has dropped the case. She's claiming a conflict of interest. This was to do with a defendant. His name is Dustin Pittman from Beaufort in Abervale.
Mm-hmm.
This morning he tried fighting somebody. He's got his case coming up now on Monday. The barrister, Amy King, she won't release paperwork leading up to this point. And he's trying desperately to get somebody with some spine in this country to represent him. Obviously, he's been left in a precarious situation. I believe his name is, the magistrate's name is Brown, and I believe it's Newport Magistrates Court.
Mm-hmm.
Was the judge signed a warrant for the search of Dustin's home, and subsequently the search warrant was altered. It's turning into a real mess. That was the main issue, was the fact of, trying to find somebody who can represent him at short notice in Britain. Hopefully, if somebody hears this, they can get in contact with the show, and I can put him in contact with Dustin, because he is desperate. Yeah.
Okay. Well, can you give us the overview again? What is his situation?
Dustin Pittman, he was, he still is, I guess, a registered firearms dealer. He was following the letter of the law. He was dealing guns from his own home, which had secure boxes, strong boxes, roller doors, shutter arms, all the rest. He complied with absolutely everything. This started off, I believe, as a squabble between himself and his neighbor, and it's just escalated. The magistrate and the firearms officer, both members of the same Masonic lodge, and the reason that Dustin knows they're both members of the same Masonic lodge.
Hey, Gareth, I got to put you on hold. Yep. Don't hang up. I want to hear the rest of the story after these few words.
reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're talking with Gareth in Wales. And Gareth, as I understand the story, you have a friend who is a licensed gun dealer. He's got all the appropriate vaults and strong boxes to keep the firearms safe. And yet somehow he has run afoul of the law.
That would be the case if it were actually true. Same as many things. Accusations are easily made. It's when it goes to court is when it tends to either be upheld or fall apart. The firearms officer, there had been a firearms officer, Lyndon, I forget his surname. He was a real tidy guy. He knew the difference between obsolete caliber and, he knew what he could do anything about, and what he couldn't. But, sort of in replacing him, they got some real loons. Everything is bad. Everything, I don't know whether it's part of the UN agenda to get guns out of everyone's hands. Some could say probably. Some could say, well, it's got nothing to do with it. But evidence went missing from the evidence locker. I think that was a Holland & Holland rifle.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I knew he had the rifle. The rifle was not his. It was it belonged to a chap who'd moved from South Africa back to this country, and Dustin was given it safe storage. So he had a covering letter from the owner to say that, you know, the gun itself is a tool and it is to be used. That both Dustin and his son were more than welcome to go use it. So that was a Holland and Holland serial number 00002. There was a little bit of a controversy over it because Holland and Holland say that weapon, all the parts were made, but it was never assembled. 10 years later, it disappears. It resurfaces in South Africa. This chap has it. He comes back to this country, and Dustin is asked to look after it. Covering letter, you know, everything is all above board. The value of the weapon itself was an insurance value of £60,000. Holland and Holland offered to buy it back from the owner for £100,000 just so that their records were complete. And it has subsequently gone missing from, I believe, the police evidence locker. The man wasn't issued a statement of everything that was taken. So, of course, coming time to prove everything is very difficult. Now, I said I know the rifle was there because I was there eyeing up a number 4 Lee Enfield rebarreled in .308. Very nice rifle, reasonably priced at £600. And I said I would think on it. And the next day, he was raided and everything was taken, including deactivated weapons, everything, literally everything was taken. So again,
now this is from the guy who had the gun vaults.
That's correct. That is correct. So there were problems with the issue of the warrant. It had been changed by one of the firearms officers and not notarized by the magistrate. Apart from Dustin's stuff, he shares a house with his son, and all his son's stuff was taken as well. And they are both having difficulty with, you know, getting their stuff back, which is, you know, should lawfully be theirs. Barrister, he gives me the name of Amy King. King isn't a real name. Apparently she uses that because nobody can pronounce her name, which is French. But supposedly this is the same barrister that got Tony Martin out of prison for he shot. There were 3 intruders broke into his house. This is going back quite a few years. One escaped, one was shot dead, and one was shot and injured. And the perpetrators had driven 73 miles to go and rob him. One of them, I believe it was the injured chap, tried claiming compensation from Tony Martin for injuries sustained while trying to rob him, and thankfully the judge threw that out as a laughable matter.
As well he should.
But we are still thought of the same barrister. And as I said, she's just not answering any of his calls. The last contact he had with her was back at the beginning of the month, and he has told me that this morning, actually, we were talking about this on the phone, that he'd managed to get another solicitor. So he said, fine, okay. I'm sort of in the process of phoning quite a few people, yourselves included. I want to get in contact with UK Column, LBC Leading Britain's Conversation, and the British Constitutional Party to see if anyone has a contact on a barrister or solicitor with spine enough to take the case on.
All right, well, we're going to have to let you go because we got to take a break for commercials. I wish you luck. Thank you. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Republic Broadcasting Network depends on listener support of our advertisers and of our sponsors. We'd like to especially thank all of you who have taken advantage of our fundraiser with FrontSight Bonus. Those who are now FrontSight members, please train as soon as possible for your sake and for that of our nation. And please consider sharing your training and what you've learned when you arrive home. Republic Broadcasting Network has to stop promoting this fundraiser on air and on the website in just a few days. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, president of FrontSight, made a gracious exception to his no media rule for us at Republic Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Dr. Piazza. And once you've been to FrontSight, feel free to call your favorite host and share your experience on the air. We can continue this fundraiser without media help, but it'll be totally up to the listeners to spread the information. Please call Dan Sutterfield in Missouri at 573-465-2356, 573-465-2356. That's 573-465-2356.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go to the phone here to Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I've never been to South Africa or to Britain. Because it was
Britain.
Yeah. But Mike, isn't it amazing how the laws in Britain with the guns, they got to go after the law-abiding citizen over here, but they always don't go after the groups that are running guns to the moderate rebels in Syria and the moderate rebels in Libya. Isn't that amazing? The British are running guns. The French are running guns. The United States is running guns to the
Those are the
moderate
good
rebels.
guys.
Yeah, but you know what's sad? They don't care if they use like a TOW missile on a school bus or a Stinger missile system on a airliner. This is how much these people are garbage. You know, the Congress, the Senate over in Britain, Parliament over there, they're all the same group of crap. You know, they're all crap. You know, they just don't care what happens to anybody. And which leads me to Greta Thunberg, Mike. Like, what's her slogan? My childhood has been stolen. Isn't that the hashtag now? Like for them, the Me Too, like in the Me Too movement. What about the children of Syria? What about their childhoods, or the children of Iraq, or Libya, or Yemen?
The children who've been molested.
Well, yeah, that too. Where's their childhoods at? They've been bombed away and molested away. You know? But yet, I don't see no hashtags for that, do you?
Nope.
At all from Greta Thunberg. You know, I don't know if she's got Down syndrome or not. That's not really the question. Is like, but she's been indoctrinated.
Yes.
You know, through schools, her parents. You know, I probably would think her parents would be on board with the climate change, just like the UN is. Washington Post had an article out. You know, but just no childhood for the Syrian children. You know, they just don't care. You know, it's just it's a meme to just push things for their agenda, and
Yep.
that's it. You know, and then they'll just move on to something else. Kind of like with Trump, with the with the whole Ukraine thing. You know, it's funny, they have nothing on Trump, but we got nothing with Trump. You know, we got a big fat goose egg, Mike.
Yep.
Zero, zilch, nada. You know, and Trump could win re-election, and you know what we'll still have, Mike?
Nothing.
Zero, nada, yeah, that's it. So what's changed? And somebody called in. Oh, he's got to. You said this, and that caller from West Virginia said he got to put on his presidential brass knuckles. And what? Beat up a couple pillows in the White House? I mean, come on now. The dude has not 3 years but he had at least a year. But nothing's been changed. Nothing's changed. I say this every time I call in. Nothing's changed, and people don't realize this. But you know, there is different groups, factions in Washington D.C. Trump, the people who. This is what I believe now, Mike. That's not a fact. You know, I don't have no way to prove it. But the people Trump put around him, that's the faction that he believes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe. You know, like the Mike Pompeos. The John Boltons. Yeah, John Bolton got rid of, but he put John Bolton Light in. So, but the people you surround yourself with is the ones you want to hang around with, just like in school. You know, the people you hung around with is the ones you wanted to hang around with. That's your group.
Yep.
And there's another faction fighting Trump, but doesn't mean Trump's group / faction is the good guys. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, I mean, Mike, I go back. I'm like, man, when I voted for him, like, I mean, I watched the debates. I watched him all over we're in a big, fat, ugly bubble. We're going to get out of them. Nothing's happened.
Yep.
He said we have the best economy in the world, and then like the banks are getting liquidity pumped into. I mean, come on, people. You can't. I mean, it's time to wake the hell up. You can't keep saying, well, Trump's going to do this, Trump's going to do that. What, in his next term, the last day before he leaves the White House I mean, come on. I mean, stupid is stupid. You know, it's time to wake up. The dude could have done stuff he didn't. And that's it. I don't think he's going to do anything. You know, I mean, my God, he should have put in Douglas McGregor. He put in John Bolton Light. That tells you all you need to know. He didn't get rid of Pompeo. He didn't get rid of Haspel. He didn't get rid of Elliot Abrams is still there. You know, I mean, I don't know how much more proof people need that the dude ain't doing it. And Mike, what about this whole thing with the Russians, with the visas? They denied the visa application to some Russians or something. Why?
For the UN General Assembly, I mean, that's a major diplomatic faux pas.
Yeah, but why? I thought he wanted to be friends with Russia.
Apparently not.
You know, but you know what's funny? The whole Ukraine thing, he shouldn't have been on board this thing in the first place. They should not have even talked about selling weapons to Ukraine. That should have been off the table, you know? But, you know, and you know, remember Trump said he wasn't going to tell people what his plans are. He's just going to do them. He twitters them all out, the plan. It's a big joke, man. Like, if he wanted to be friends with Russia, you wouldn't block the visa applications through the State Department because Trump has control over all these people. He can hire and fire anybody he wants, and he doesn't.
No, if the State Department refused the visas for the Russian delegation, that came down from Trump.
Exactly. And then if Trump didn't know about it, but that's still Trump's fault. He's the commander-in-chief. He is the captain of the ship. He is ultimately responsible for what goes on, in his part of the government.
Yep.
The executive branch, right? So, I mean, you can't blame mid-level people now. Mike, I don't care what anybody says. The dude, there's no hope with this dude. That's it. That's just no hope. Give up
another
your hope
phony.
for this guy.
He's another
Yeah,
phony.
And you know what's sad, Mike? Fool me once, fool me twice. We got suckers written on our foreheads, Mike. Suckers, and suckers. Mike, have a good night.
All right, same to you, and we're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Aloha, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Good day to you, Michael. There goes Dustin again, beleaguering and bragging down on Trump, and I can understand his frustration, I guess, because he lives in the state of New Jersey, so we'll let him slide, Michael. But, this one thing I'll agree with Dustin on is right. They don't have nothing on Trump, and they'll do anything to witch hunt him, to impeach him, whatever, but it ain't going to work. He's going to stay president. He'll probably get another 4 years if he continues on. I guarantee you that. But what I want to tell Dustin also is, Dustin, at least with this guy, the media has basically been exposed. You never heard about fake news, the swamp. I mean, come on, Michael. Do you not agree with that at least? You never heard that from any other Republican president like the Bush clan or these other Republicans. Maybe Reagan tried a little bit, but Reagan was even in bed with the elitists. Okay, so, I got to give Trump a little accolade as far as, at least he's brought out some truths as far as what's going on as far as the swamp goes. And as far as getting back to yesterday, that guy Bill called in and said that I have a problem with Hispanics. I do not have a problem with Hispanics, Michael. I have a problem with people coming here illegally that don't belong in this country. Why don't they go to South America, Bill? Why aren't they going to South America where they got a giant continent where they speak Spanish? Where they you learn to speak Portuguese in Brazil? That guy Bill's like, oh, this guy, I don't have a problem them coming here legally, want to become American citizens, Michael, and neither do you. And that's what this is all about. This is all about changing electoral college. These people are coming here. Michael, let me ask you a question and I want to ask that guy Bill and Dustin. How come these people come here and they get to have 10 radio stations in Spanish and 3 in English, and they're not, and the Germans or the Polish or the Italians or no other group that came here were able to do that? After such a long time, like here in South Florida, I was telling you yesterday. How does a population go from majority Anglo to now they're only not even 10% of the population of Will County? And Broward County is not going to be far behind. Is that the modus of operandi through the nationwide?
It's changing the demographics.
And every time, every day, all I hear is Dustin ridiculing Trump, and Trump's a zero, and Trump's this. Well, you know what, Dustin? Like you say, you don't vote, so your vote doesn't matter anyway. People who do go out vote, they either had Hillary or they had Trump. Trump won the electoral college. He's the president. Hillary could have won. You'd be calling Michael Show and bragging on Hillary, that she's a communist, which we all know she is. She's a Bolshevik. And, talking about Trump and the Russia and the Ukrainian, Biden's son is it true, Michael, that I want you to talk for 5 minutes about this. Did the son, Hunter, actually get $1.5 billion out of the Chinese? And if that is the truth, doesn't this resonate with Barry Soetoro, Hussein Obama? Isn't Obama, well, you know what? I'm looking at this like, Michael, Obama's responsible for all this. This is all on Barry Soetoro, and I guarantee it. If did you see Rudy Giuliani last night on one of their network shows? Have you had a chance to see that video of Rudy Giuliani talking to that guy Chris Hahn?
No.
It was off the chain. I will say this: I watched cable news. Well, it's not like OAN, but that was Fox News. And I got to tell you, Giuliani tore into that guy Hahn, who's a Schumer. Matter of fact, Schumer's having a vote in the Senate today to stop them from getting funding for the wall. Chucky Schmucky Schumer. He's the same guy that wants to donate millions of dollars to Israel every month or whatever. They're giving billions of dollars to Israel to build a wall. And now Netanyahu in Israel, it's funny, supposedly he lost the election because the Arabs have got the vote over there, and they're not going to vote for Netanyahu. They're going to go for the moderate. They're not going to go for a conservative like Netanyahu. So the Arabs in Israel voted against him. Supposedly. That's why not exactly lost this last election. But I will say this. Dustin, every day he has to talk about Trump doesn't do nothing. Trump's doing nothing. Trump's just like everybody else. Well, yeah, Michael, maybe he is working for the Zionists. Maybe, it's quite possible he is in a lot of regards. But in some regards, I think he's actually trying to help the average Joe in the United States. He does bring up the fact that we are being invaded. Okay, he's telling people, hey, now, yeah, he's a weakling. I'll give Dustin that. He's a weakling when it comes to immigration as far as doing arrest. I haven't seen nobody get arrested, and I'm disgusted by it. But I will say this. At least the media knows that there's a guy to say, hey, man, American public, wake up. You are going to be taken over soon, shortly. Okay? California's a great example.
Yep.
California's gone. California's a lost state, Dustin. It's Democrat. Every city that the Democrats get their hands on with their liberal, licky-kissy, touchy-feely ways goes to HE double two picks. Okay? So the point of the matter is, South Florida, I was raised here in South Florida, Michael. It was called the Magic City before there was ever even Vegas or anything. Okay? Now, they totally came in here. A lot of them are wonderful, great Americans, outstanding. Matter of fact, the community that represents a lot of South Florida, they're pro-conservative people. I give them that. But you have other groups coming here now. They don't want to sit. They don't want to simulate. Why should they? Look at Texas. Look at California. Look at Arizona. No. Michael, like I told your show months ago, no other group was able to do that. The Germans, there's 120 million Germans in the United States. And they're not allowed to get their language and keep their cultural identity. It's, doing papa and all that nonsense. The same with the Polish, the polka dances, or the Italians wanting to do their language. They're not allowed to keep that as far as 20 radio stations, 15 TV stations. No. And you know what? You come to this country, you become American, you learn the common language, you salute one flag only, that's the red, white, and blue, stars and stripes, and you become an American in my eyes. If you don't, you get out of here. We don't need you. We don't. Look, do you really care about what I care about my founding fathers and the laws that they laid down for this nation? I don't think a lot of these people do. I can tell you they're turning our monuments upside down, which is bullcrap. Has Trump done enough for that? I'll agree with Dustin on that. He's done weak on that also, I believe. So the Civil War monuments should never have been torn up like they are. That's ridiculous. That's all part of our history. That's what made this the greatest country on earth. We're talking about guns and freedom. Well, they keep doing this stuff with the monuments and all that. We will be like Venezuela or Cuba or Nicaragua. And I don't want that, because I can tell you, Michael, firsthand, I talked to hundreds of people, thousands of people that came from those countries. And every one they get here want to kiss the ground that they came on, that they walk upon. They want to kiss this ground. And look, I can tell you, like I told you in the past, I've been to Cuba numerous times. No woman in that island drives a car. There's hardly any food to eat. Okay, Venezuela is, I heard, even worse. But I guess the women have cars over there, but not in Cuba. Not one woman drives a car in Cuba. You will not see it. You can have other people calling your show and ask them. That's not going to happen, because without the United States supporting them with sending stuff back. And I'll tell you another thing, Michael. Could you imagine if Trump really were to get stripped? And I agree with Dustin on this. What Trump should do is say, no more reparations back to your country that you're coming from. And if we do, we're going to tax it. We're going to tax it 25%. If there's a 25 cent tax on every dollar sent back to any country over there, it's not Latin America, or it's not Latin America, it's Hispanic, Hispaniola, because Latins were Romans. Let's get that straight too. Everybody says that's not Latin America. Latin America is in Rome. These people are not Latins; they're Hispanic. Am I right, Michael, on that? Yes or no?
Yes, you are.
I'm right on that. Dustin, did you hear that? I'm right on that. It's not Latin America; it's Hispanic America. I guess that's the way you look at it. But now, if Trump were to do that, then I would say, you know what, Trump, and I think Dustin would say, wow, he's doing something. And you know what? Dustin's got a phone. He'd call the White House and complain. Why did you add 25% on reparation when the money sent back, they taxed it? Like Trump said, he wants to tax Mexico for the wall or all these other countries. Yes, until I see that, look, I'm not totally saying Trump is the greatest president in the world that ever was. You told me I think Reagan did a lot more for this country in a lot of fiscal ways, I think. There's other presidents, but I think the man's trying in some ways to at least expose the swamp, Michael, the evil tentacles that are out there. And I know he's really exposed Hollywood for the criminality they do. That Hollywood's off, Hollywood, or whatever you want to call it, Freaky Wood. I mean, it's beyond belief what's going on in that place over there, the left coast. And, like Dustin, he's a very intelligent man. That when I hear him, I know that. But he should fight more for how he's been raped and taxed.
Okay, we got to take a break. We got to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
OMG! People are jumping on board to the Life Change Tea Regiment. Brew, steep, and drink for a gentle, taste great cleanse. It's changing how they feel. See what everybody's talking about. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Life Change Tea aids in digestive slowdown and helps people get moving down a healthy path. We won't make claims. We'll just let you decide. Experience is much better than a commercial anyway. If you want results, log on to getthetea.com and purchase your super strength cleansing tea. You won't be disappointed. And if you're looking for some mind-body suggestions, go to YouTube and punch in the search bar Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. Put power into your health now. So, getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com for super strength tea. And YouTube, Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now for valuable suggestions. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Some have maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. We're going to go to Keith Rogers. Aloha, Keith. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Keith, is he there?
Yeah, I didn't hear the switch over. Mike was a little slow there. One thing I really feel sorry for is Americans that do not have any idea about what U.S. foreign policy has been just like the three administrations of sanctions on Venezuela alone, to where they're eating their dogs and cats and stuff. The CIA death squads, all down through Nicaragua, El Salvador, led by the Contras, all trained at the School of America. Same thing with Manuel Noriega, who helped fund the arms to the Contras to Iran and stuff. And the same players that are in the office today in the White House are also responsible for that. But what I called in for, on these gamers, you watch these gamers playing all the time, and you don't think much of it until you watch a couple of YouTube videos of those gamers smashing their TV sets and their Xboxes or whatever like that. But the point is, though, is like swatting, where a gamer, because he loses, he will call the police in a fake raid and someone gets shot. And this is no different, Mike, than what we see with those neocons in foreign policy, with decades of CIA's failed intelligence on foreign states, actors, whether it's Iran or what like that they call in these stupid things and they send the U.S. boys over there to get killed. And you have to remember that this government had supplied all of these brutal dictators with arms, who later used those arms to kill Americans.
Yes.
And no one understands how this foreign policy works, just like with, I mentioned the other day, I think it was, with Del Monte. Bringing freedom and democracy means making way for U.S. corporations. Destroying communism means unions, any labor reforms, wage things like that for these Hispanics. And mostly, it's all done on this premise of the Sovietization or something like that. These guys are all Catholics. They're Lutherans. They're Protestants, they have been targeted for big corporations here. And that's why we see now, even with Trump, what he's doing in office now, what are the corporations? They're still moving out of the United States. This is the premise. They are not going to pay the American worker the wage that we need here. And that Greta, whatever her name is, her tweet this morning, or that article this morning from The Guardian, said that if we save the banks, we'll save our future. What kind of a message is that?
If we save the banks, we'll save the banks.
Yeah. But, if anyone wants to understand foreign policy, you need to read those. Archive.org is full of old FBI and CIA released documents of the massive amount of FBI infiltration into groups, setting people up, murdering people, and then they have their case thrown out of court because the guy was an informant. Anyway, your break's here, but I hope you're feeling better, Mike.
Yeah, my break's here. Actually, we're going to do a replay for break number 3. It's going to be Ryan Dawson. I'll be back full-time for tomorrow's show, but I'm just too tired to do the whole show today, and I apologize. So there's going to be a replay for the rest of the program. So take care, and